NPR.
This is The Indicator from Planet Money. I'm Wailin Wong.
And I'm Stephen Bisaha.
Stephen, you are back. You've returned from the business desk.
Yes, good to be back temporarily, but I plan on making more regular visits. Sorry I've been gone so long.
We have missed you.
And I return, Wailin, with a classic question. If you could travel back to any time in history, when would it be?
Oh, well, I need indoor plumbing.
That's important.
Maybe like the 90s?
90s? Okay, not too far back.
I'll go back to the 90s.
Yeah, my time travel visit would actually be even sooner, just 5 years back in the past to 2021.
Oh, you want to go back to the thick of the pandemic? Why? Why?
Maybe not the thick of it, but the one reason I want to go back is so I could get a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Mortgage rates at the time were crazy low, like less than 3%.
Yes, a distant memory now. And to put that in context, we were just celebrating last week when mortgage rates fell below 6%.
Lucky for us, there is a way to travel back to 2021 and drag those low mortgage rates into the present. Yes, you can get a 2.5% mortgage in 2026.
Okay, but if science fiction has taught us anything, Stephen, it's that going back in time comes with a cost.
Today on the show, we reveal the not-so-simple trick for getting that super low mortgage rate, something you can do to save a lot of money.
If you have a lot of patience and a lot of cash.
Can't bring it back to the 90s, though. I'm sorry. Put the Rugrats away.
Support for NPR and the following message come from Edward Jones. A rich life isn't always a straight line. Unexpected turns can bring new possibilities. With 100 years of experience navigating ups and downs, Edward Jones can help guide you. Let's find your rich together. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
This message comes from Mint Mobile. If you're tired of spending hundreds on big wireless bills, bogus fees, and free perks, Mint Mobile might be right for you with plans starting from $15 a month. Shop plans today at mintmobile.com/switch. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5GB plan required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. This message comes from Charles Schwab. When it comes to managing your wealth, Schwab gives you more choices, like full-service wealth management and advice when you need it. You can also invest on your own and trade on Thinkorswim. Visit schwab.com to learn more.
So we're going to start our time travel journey easy, just going back a couple years to 2024. And in 2024, the housing market didn't look all that different from today.
I mean, if anything, the market's even worse. Mortgage rates are a little bit higher, and same with the sales price of a typical home.
And that is why instead of being a homeowner, Brendan Burrows is living in Florida with the in-laws and, doing some classic Zillow surfing.
I had my little criteria, had my filter on it, and I had that 400,000, as low as like 300.
Then he sees the house, corner lot, 4 bedrooms, all cinder block to handle those Florida storms.
I like this, look at the picture. This is like, Brand, this is nice. Now I looked at the description, my eyes lit up.
They lit up because in that description was the secret to our time travel and the way to get those cheap mortgage rates. And it's different from how selling a home normally works.
Right. So, Stephen, if I sold you my home, I normally would have to pay off my mortgage in full and then start over with a new mortgage at today's probably higher rates for my next home.
Yeah, but it turns out there is a way, Waylon, you can sell me your home and give me your old mortgage rate too. That is what Brendan saw in the listing, the option to buy the home and get a 2.5% mortgage rate.
This is called an assumable mortgage. Brendan says his real estate agent, Kai, had told him about assumable mortgages, so he knew what to look for. So then when he saw one for the house he wanted, he did a double take.
Looked at that again, called Kai real fast, y'all want this house.
Basically, every government-backed mortgage is assumable. So we're talking Department of Veteran Affairs loans. So lots of vets have this option. And new home buyers without a lot of cash, they often get loans from the Federal Housing Administration, and those are also assumable.
About 6 million homes have an assumable mortgage below 5%, according to an estimate from the company Assume List. So that's about 7% of all outstanding mortgages in the U.S.
And yes, the home seller still has to give up their low mortgage rate and get a higher one if they're buying another house. But listing a home with a 2.5% mortgage rate, that is a big selling point. Like, Waylon, if I was able to buy your house and get that rate, I might be more willing to, pay a little more since I'd still be saving money.
But for as good as transferring a mortgage sounds, few homeowners that have the option actually do it. And that tends to come down to two reasons.
The first is that this could be a long, drawn-out process.
Yeah, when Brendan Burrows tried to assume the mortgage for that Florida house, he says it was hard to reach the mortgage company.
We're just sitting there waiting for a phone call back. 10 days go by, a month goes by. I'm hearing nothing.
The companies that actually manage these mortgages have 45 days by law to finish a credit review for the transfer or just finish up the whole process. In reality, it can often take months. In fact, there are companies that their whole deal is helping buyers navigate this, and they want Congress to better enforce that timeline.
The other big problem with transferring a mortgage is that home prices have gone up a lot, like 54% since 2020.
So, of course, the original mortgage made when housing was cheaper is no longer going to cover the price of the same house today. It's up to the buyer to make up the difference, and that could be a huge down payment.
So basically, my gap I had to put down $105,000.
I mean, that is a lot for a first-time home buyer if that's what you need to have on hand just to seal the deal.
Frankly, this is the biggest barrier for assuming a mortgage. Now, Brendan, he was lucky. He made some smart investments years earlier in two little companies, Tesla and NVIDIA.
And I cashed out during COVID. So I had the money sitting there.
Wow. Way to time it, Brendan.
He should probably be hosting this show instead of
Oh, my goodness.
So, after some waiting and a big down payment, Brendan did it. He was able to get the house and the 2.5% mortgage rate.
Now, back in the present, 2026, assumable mortgages are getting a new look, including by the Trump administration, because maybe making more loans assumable would make more houses affordable.
Yeah, the Federal Housing Finance Agency Director, Bill Pulte, posted about this on X in November. He wrote that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were evaluating how to do assumable mortgages in a safe and sound manner.
It's still really vague about what that would actually look like or mean. So to understand what could happen, we called up Lori Goodman. She's written about assumable mortgages for the Urban Institute.
If Trump waved his magic wand and decreed that Fannie and Freddie mortgages could be assumable tomorrow, that he could do that for future mortgages. You just can't do that for those that are outstanding.
Meaning, yes, Trump can make these new mortgages transferable. He can't do that, though, for ones that already exist, because basically mortgages are contracts.
You can't change an existing contract unless both sides agree.
And the bank or investors that own your mortgage are not likely to agree. Essentially, these groups expect a certain number of mortgages to end early because, people move. So they get their money back and can reinvest it into buying new mortgages at today's higher rates. And bam, they're now making more money than if they let you transfer your old mortgage.
All right, but before we grab the pitchforks, it's worth noting this system and the secondary mortgage market where these different investment groups buy up mortgages does put a lot more money in the housing market, and it helps keep interest rates down. You could argue it's what makes a 30-year fixed mortgage possible.
If mortgages became assumable, Lori says interest rates could go up.
If you made the mortgage assumable so that I was no longer able to do that, I would probably charge you more for that mortgage up at going in at the very beginning. I might charge.
So that would mean those new transferable mortgages could be at today's 6% rate. And I don't know who would want that.
I don't know, rates might go like the 80s at some point and go into double digits someday. Then you will be wishing for a 6% mortgage.
Okay, Stephen, let's not manifest that, please.
I'm trying not to will it or anything like that. But, Lori did look at all these hurdles you mentioned earlier, like how difficult it is to transfer a mortgage and how much cash you need, and says, this is your solution for getting people into their first home? Yeah, good luck with that.
The idea is we want to free up starter homes that people have lived in too long. They've had the extra kid, and we want to free that up for young families who are the last people that can come up with an extra $200,000 in cash.
But if you can make an assumable mortgage work like Brendan Burrows did, then you've got something to brag about. He says he's saving a lot of money on his home, especially compared to his coworker who bought a similar model house.
He paid like $3,200 a month. And I said, yo, my mortgage is literally half that.
Brendan says without that low rate, he probably would have spent 2 more years Zillow surfing at the in-laws.
This episode was produced by Corey Bridges with engineering by Jimmy Keeley. It was fact-checked by Tyler Jones. Kate Kincannon is our editor, and The Indicator is a production of NPR.
This message comes from Vanta. What's your 2 a.m. security worry? Is it, do I have the right controls in place? Or are my vendors secure? Enter Vanta. Vanta automates manual work so you can stop sweating over spreadsheets, chasing audit evidence, and filling out endless questionnaires. Their trust management platform continuously monitors your systems, centralizes your data, and simplifies your security at scale. Get started at Vanta.com. That's VANTA.com. Support for NPR and the following message come from Washington Wise. Decisions made in Washington can affect your portfolio every day. Washington Wise from Charles Schwab is an original podcast that unpacks the stories making news in Washington. Listen at schwab.com/WashingtonWise.
This message comes from Capella University. That spark you feel? That's your drive for more. Capella University's FlexPath learning format lets you earn your degree at your pace without putting life on pause. Learn more at capella.edu.